Hi, welcome to the Purple Ladder. Good morning, and I hope you're having a blessed day on this Sunday morning. Yes, today I want to discuss the Prince Netflix documentary. I just want to go over it briefly and the article in the New York Times. I was reading this a couple of weeks ago at work. Um, I'm I'm like this, really, and I'm gonna start with a documentary I saw a couple of years back about Rick James, and it was a great documentary. I saw several things about Rick James, like behind the music and everything. And, mainly they focus on his drug and then later on life and recovery. You want to see those things. That's part of his life. You take the good and the bad. But on this documentary, it went deep. They really did a good job. They didn't just focus on the negative. They focus on the positive. That Showtime documentary. Rick James, they talked about, you know, how good he was in the as a musician, producer and everything. They they talked about his life because part of his life was, the crack, the drugs. Yeah, that's going to be part of the centerpiece, but they didn't talk about him being a terrible person or a abuser trying to find just plain dirt. Now, I'm against that. If you're going to demonize somebody, leave that out of it because I believe the good outweighs the bad. And I don't believe he was a bad guy. So don't do that to people. And I was satisfied with that documentary at the end. I felt my belly was full. But going and discussing this article, and they talking about a nine hour documentary of the Netflix documentary. Now, 9 hours is a long time, so they are talking about a lot of things. And I believe the good probably outweighed the bad because that's 9 hours. One thing, yeah, I'm a huge Prince friend and supporter. I'm not a fanatic because I don't worship idols. But with the Purple Ladder channel and with Prince, this is dedicated to him because of his music, his work ethic, the way he was, what he contributed in music and putting it down. But, to dig into his life, that's one thing. Now, if you're trying to find how he was and everything, that's okay. But, at an extent, the man was a Gemini. He could be, yeah, he could be mean. But when you look at some of the people like that's been around him a lot, say for instance, like a Morris Day, Sheila E., some of the people like Mike Bland or whatever. Yeah, and then when you look at the girlfriends, yeah, Susan Moonsey, Vanity, me, Jill Jones that knows him. It's different sides of Prince. But like I said, I don't know anything about this Jill Jones thing. So I can't speak on that. That's her words, but the man can't defend himself. So I don't know what's going on. So really, that shouldn't have been in the documentary anyway. You don't bring that up because so long is not a part of his life. This is not a trend where he's beating on women constantly. He's a woman beater. So you have to get a dozen so women and say, yeah, he beat on everybody. Now, you had relationships with, his wife, Mate, and she discussed some of it in her book. Yeah, it wasn't, you got to remember, the marriage wasn't, always a happy marriage, and I'm neutral on that part because I understand Mate's point, but I understand Prince's point. Prince also had a relationship with Nona Gay. He hurt her, but at the end, she was she really loved him, and she was hurt when he passed, and all was forgiven. You have to look, just like Apollonia said at once, he was trying to right his wrongs out, later in his years. And when Vanity became a Christian, she forgave him for, things. In relationships, you have that. She never was bitter later, far as that. Certain things, you might say, but still, later on, you look and, for example, like Sheila E. Sheila E., had a personal and a business relationship, and it was not all good. And when it came down to business, a lot of things he wasn't, far as with the people that he employed, a lot of things he didn't do right. But still, at the same time, he did still keep those relationships, and he tried to make up for it, later on in his life. So you don't punish anybody for that. So I remember I heard a fellow YouTuber talking about the council. Man, you might as well cancel the whole music industry as much as stuff that goes on in this entertainment world. You know, I like the Beatles, but a lot of they stories that came out, you know, you could say, wow, but at the same time, you still listen to the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. You can't demonize a person, try to find something that maybe isn't accurate. It might, it might not be accurate, but at the same time, it's just, hearsay, like your parents giving you a spanking, which I had got a spanking. You know, they try to make it so brutal. So, do we need that documentary? I don't know. You want Prince's legacy to live on. You want people to know because everything is in his music. But for as some of the rest of the stuff, we know things is gonna, come out in movies because they're gonna sensationalize it. But I'm just gonna say this a little bit before I go. All movies, the the true movies mostly are always false. And the false movies are always true. So always remember that. And like I say, for the documentary, for that article, it was interesting, but at the same time, I'm still going to listen to Prince. And I think the good outweighed the bad. I think he was a good person. And he took on the industry. So most of the big wigs in the industry, a lot of them are going to always somehow not like him because he took on a monster and he always going to be hated for that. But in my book, Prince is one of the best musicians of all time, and his legacy is going to continue. And for the estate, hey, whether you agree with the Prince estate or not, their primary goal is to make money. Yeah, their primary goal is to make money. And that's all I got to say about that. So, yeah, this is the Purple Ladder speaking. Like, comment, subscribe, push that notification. I always have a video every Sunday. And yes, I see you. God bless. Peace. And thank you.